But you can see that the gap is no more wide. He is a PhD holder, I'm a master's degree. The gap is not wide anymore. But if I remained at that one, I cannot contribute usefully when he's discussing, even with his friends and all those, you know. So let us learn to do this. If peradventure you marry, there's this gap, try and be for the back, whether the side of man or the side of woman. And so doing, your marriage will continue. Listen to what he says. Stop bringing third parties to your marriage. Be yourself. For today, I've done 33 years, I've entered 34 years in marriage. I'm a grandmother of 3. I'm expecting more. Do you understand? I have never gone to my family, my husband's family, to report my husband. And he himself has never done that. Does it mean that we don't quarrel? No, we do. We settle this in our bedroom. In fact, we try as much as possible not to even allow our children know there's anything happening. We settle it. Why did you say this? Why did you say this now? And then, obviously, the truth will come out. He will know where he missed it. I also know where I missed it. Either he tells me I'm sorry, I'll tell him I'm sorry. And we make love and cement it. And that's the end of it. We don't hide it under carpet. That's it. But some women, when this one comes now, they will go to their room, wear 7 trousers, to make it come. You chase your husband outside. Yeah. Some men too will lock up the picking and go to other, you know, what they call their handbag or whatever, to go and hide, you know. You destroy your home with that. So please learn. This something we said as it started. It's actually instituted and ordained by God. We must respect marriage. If God doesn't want us to respect it, He won't do it give it to us as an instruction, as a command. Let's be wise. Let's be wise and reduce this divorce. Jumping today, tomorrow you're out. Let's reduce it. Especially our young folks. I'm happy we are speaking to youths. Those of us are already there, but you coming up. You heard it say nothing love, is more than, marriage is more than this love and emotional you're saying. But love will actually come later on when you do the right thing. So we'll take a break now and then we'll come back to enter session for question and answer. Vivid view.
Say and do it.
My name is Oyetunde Emmanuel, and my question goes thus. How do you deal with inferiority complex in marriage as a man?
Welcome back. There's already a question from the audience, so allow the guest for his response.
Yes, so the question is, how do you deal with inferiority complex? And he said as a man, but I would say both as a man and as a woman. Yeah. The first thing is to first of all dissect what inferiority complex is. And that's a low self-esteem. You're feeling less than yourself. Mm-hmm. The first thing I would advise is discover yourself. Many persons will live this life never knowing who they really are. When you discover yourself, you don't run in other people's shadow. Number 2 is that there are never 2 persons who can work together except they agree. And that brings us back to a collective vision for the home. Okay? You know, many a times as Africans, there is this thing that beats our mentality, feeling like you are in a small community. This is the way I put it. You may have an African root, but you must have a global view. You may have an African root, but you must have a global view. Okay? Don't let wherever you are now determine where you are going. You may not look like it, but with a vision in place, you will eventually get there. So you should, in the first place, don't even have a low self-esteem. Because what you look at now is just a raw material for your final destination. So don't beat yourself. Don't look down on yourself. Don't let people talk down on you. Be yourself. Okay? So that's how to deal with inferiority complex, number 1. Okay, another thing I like to mention is that you must be open-minded. Many people close up. As soon as they see people who have things that, just imagine we finish school together and I'm driving an SUV and you're still looking for a job on the street, and then you see me. I've experienced that before. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, and the guy does as if he didn't see me because he feels like, oh, I can't identify with this guy now. The same thing happens if your wife or your spouse, for any reason, I'm going back to that, is not as qualified. Please, again, don't put your spouse under pressure. I learned of a tricycle rider a few days ago. I was on a radio station and they said he had to commit suicide because He had an accident with the tricycle, and the owner of the tricycle said he has to pay him money. By the time he got home, the wife put pressure on him. The guy just went in, took hypo, and killed himself. Please, for reason of avoiding stories that touch, inferiority complex is a dangerous thing. Get it out of your system.
Completely.
Be yourself.
Yes.
Know yourself. Yes. Discover yourself. Whatever you are now is not what defines you.
Not at all.
Then somebody asked, you want to marry someone? And I said, listen, if you want to marry someone who is from another background or something, the first thing is that you should understand. Our parents used to say it. Know where you are coming from. Know the child of whose parents you are.
You are.
Please, please, and please, I beg you, marry who you like. Don't marry what you like.
There are two different things, so there are two different things. Yeah.
You may meet someone who you share values with. I mean, I was in school those days and I met a girl. She loved movies. I love movies a lot. She loved movies. And that was like a burning point for us. But at some point in time, I found out our values had some, divergent views and all of that. And that just ended the relationship. Please, don't be blind when it comes to marrying people. It's never a blind affair. Know what you're getting into. I also want to say here that it's important that people must prepare for marriage and not for weddings. People spend time preparing for the wedding, and in 3 months' time, they discover what they just got into. I had a friend, she's a designer, but a lawyer by profession. She told me, say, listen, it took me 3 years to know what I got into. 3 years. We had up evals, up and down, all of that. 3 years before I knew, okay? Because in our own culture, in our own situation, she married someone who was quite older. That's another topic for another day. The man was like 10, 15 years older than her. Okay, so please, 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 prepare for marriage, not for wedding. It's just a single day event, but marriage is a lifetime thing, okay? Why you need to get away from inferiority complex? You as a man, you are meant to provide security and confidence to your spouse. I can't imagine, my wife told me a story of how armed robbers visited a home and the man was under the bed while the wife struggled the gun from the armed robber. And eventually, I overpowered the guy and the guy ran away. And when the police came, they were asking, please, where is the man? They say he was under the bed when the thing happened. They said, no, this is actually the man, you are the woman. Okay? You need to provide security and confidence. So you can't afford to be timid. You can't afford to have low self-esteem. Please, very important.
Thank you so much. You are in. I just want to chip in before we take a break now. That Steve Harvey says that man has 3 P's. Mm-hmm. The first P is to profess the girl you want to marry. The second one is to provide. And the third one is to protect. Then to some reasonable extent, men always want these 3. If you see a man who cannot do these 3, if you really find it difficult, to go along with. And that's where this inferiority complex will come in. But we are saying do not allow that to come in. What you see today may not also be the same tomorrow. Tomorrow is a different thing altogether. So if you are down today, tomorrow you'll be up. Don't allow that to bother you. The example you also gave, if you see your friends doing much better and you are still searching for job or doing a lesser job, you don't have car, maybe you have bicycle or motorcycle, say, oh, see John, even when we were in school, John was not even as intelligent as I was. It is true. But destiny differs. Now it's riding and you're not riding. That's not enough for you to bring down yourself. Because this friend coming a couple of means bringing down yourself, and you are the one doing it to yourself, not someone doing that to you. So always be there. Always be yourself. I told my daughter one day to help.
This is VVView.